It seemed that real estate speculators were about to tear down another irreplaceable piece of the unique architecture of Weymouth. This little control center, one-room brick building with slate roof and details sat as part of the Lincoln Perot Buick dealership that operated here at 660 Broad Street until the 1960s. I looked a little more into the site's history, and it seems that before the dealership rose in 1929, an immense shoe factory filled the site. Mr. Marshall Dizer built this factory in 1861. He and his wife lived right across the street from the factory in this home, still standing. Mrs. Dizer kept a beautiful garden here next to the home. But Mr. Dizer wanted to add water power to his factory, so he flooded the garden to make the pond. Well, the water power didn't work out, and later he added steam power, an engine room with smokestack, to drive a system of pulleys that operated the machinery on every floor. But the most interesting link to the Dizer factory takes us all the way to the American frontier. Manifest Destiny was driving Americans west, and in the 1860s, before the Transcontinental Railroad, rivers offered the best means of getting people and cargo west. And the Missouri River offered a 2,300-mile water path from St. Louis on up to Fort Benton and the gold fields in what was then Montana Territory. The danger of going down in these boats lurked on every bend. Father Pierre de Smet, S.J., said in 1838, quote, "Steam navigation on the Missouri is one of the most hazardous things a man can undertake," end quote. On March 18th of 1865, as the Civil War was coming to an end, the steamer Bertrand left St. Louis for a, quote, "mountain run," end quote. On April 1st, less than 2 weeks later, at the notoriously treacherous De Soto meander of the river, the Bertrand hit a snag. Crew escaped, but it sank within minutes. The rushing river silted it over underwater. For more than a century thereafter, the Bertrand remained buried until treasure hunters discovered it on a national wildlife refuge. Salvors began to uncover it under the guidance and rules of the National Park Service. As it turns out, the anaerobic conditions of the mud and silk cover left the lower hull and its cargo intact and almost as new. Archaeologists then carefully removed, recorded, and preserved over 300,000 of the estimated 2 million artifacts. They deemed these 300,000 worthy of stabilization. These, preserved today in the Bertrand Collection Building, offer a time capsule. Well, there, in one of the cargo boxes recovered, were 60 pairs of miner's boots from M.C. Dizer and Company of East Weymouth, Massachusetts. Hard to believe that these world-renowned boots, headed for the gold fields of Montana, came from right here in the Weymouth factory that represented the pinnacle of Weymouth's footwear years, where the tiny building now sits. Happily, the bulldozers left it standing.